Two of the more recent signature mid-range releases are out of Thoughtspace Athletics, and they're both discs that I have bagged before. It's been over a year, and I think it's about time that we revisit them. We have the Zoe Andyke Nebula Aura Mana, which is very similar, if not the same, to MVP's Neutron Swirl, Cosmic Neutron is what they call it. And we have the Glow Pathfinder for Eric Oakley, which I think I read somewhere on Thoughtspace's website that this was the last signature series for Eric. If that's wrong, I will just cut that out of the video. Thoughtspace Athletics is a company that leases molds from MVP. And so this disc, the Pathfinder, you can also see, it's probably the same, but I'm not 100% confirmed on that, in the Mint Disc Mustang, in the Remix Discs Torpedo, and I believe one or two other molds. The Mana, I think, also can be the Mint Discs Lobster, the Jester Discs Peace Train, and maybe some others. However, the plastic does affect the flight of these, and even if they're leased by a bunch of different companies, Thoughtspace always does a great job with the stamps. I want to play 9 holes at one of my favorite local courses, Owl's Den Disc Golf Course, the perfect course to review mid-ranges because we have everything from a 210-foot shot to 375 feet, every hole gettable with a mid-range, requiring a bunch of different shapes and powers to do it. So we're going to see which one is better out of these two discs, at least at this course, with me throwing them today. I don't think there is a better disc because they do, as you've seen in those first two flights, fly relatively differently and they complement one another very well if you did want to snag both. But if we were to compare the charisma department for Zoe Andyke and Eric Oakley, that would be very hard to do, both on the very, very high end. I would do a CTP battle, but we're not gonna do that because these aren't the same category of discs. They're both mid-ranges, but one of them is straight to understable and one of them is straight to overstable. So instead, we're gonna be putting, which is my favorite way to do reviews. Not everybody's, but since this is more of a review than a comparison and a little challenge, because the loser is gonna go in my Bedanza's Bounty Bin for my Course Quest series. You can watch that series to see how to win those discs. And if no one does, by the time that I move out of Denver, I'll probably do a big giveaway with at least half of them anyways. So there's something on the line for these two. The other thing on the line for me is to see if any of these should make my bag again, because mid-ranges, personally, are not a category that I've been super confident in recently. That being said, hole 1 is 276 feet straight ahead. Forehand and backhand works, and I think forehand does work with both of these mid-ranges. They both are flat enough that I feel like they would do well, but I think it's gonna have to be a flat to turn shot with the Mana and a turnover with the Pathfinder. I don't love the feel of the Pathfinder as much as I used to before I put the buzz in the bag, because I used to hate the feel of the buzz. And I don't hate the feel of this, but I don't like it as much as I did before. Interesting. Maybe if it goes in, I'll love it though. Holy, good shot to start. We will take that. Held the turn well, didn't hit it super hard, 270-foot shot. Mana, I think on that same line, turns a little too much, so I'm gonna throw it a little flatter and hope to get the same result. And by a little flatter, I mean a lot flatter. Wow, I thought I misreleased that left, and I'm glad I did. That is flippier than I expected, by a good bit. I think before I realized that the Mana and the Lobster were likely the same molds. I haven't thrown the Lobster or touched the Lobster in a couple of years, so I don't have firsthand experience with that, so you guys can let me know in the comments if you think they're the same, if you have them both. But I would think of the Mana as more like a Buzz SS style disc or an Origin, but I think it is a little flippier, at least based on that flight and the first flight that I threw, which I showed you guys in the intro. These two definitely make a good complement. If you're looking to be all Thoughtspace or all MVP made, whether that's lease companies or main brands, you can't really go wrong with these two as a 1-2 punch at the straight and understable combo. There might be a slot for a disc to fit in between them in terms of stability, but at that point you're bagging a lot of mids. One down a piece. And I'll say, since these are mid-ranges and they're the right disc for this course for most of the holes, if either of them doesn't shoot 4 down, it automatically goes in the Bedanza Bounty Bin. So if I put a not great round out here today and they both shoot 3 down or worse, looks like both of them are going in there. If I didn't fully say yet, the Pathfinder is flight numbers 5501, the Mana 55-21. Typically, I expect the Nebula Aura to be a little more overstable in terms of the plastic versus the normal flight of the mold. Because, for instance, the Praxis, another putter that Thoughtspace Athletic makes, the one that they ran for Erica Stinchcomb in this same plastic was way more overstable than a typical Praxis. Glow also typically is a touch more overstable, but I would say normally Nebula Aura is a little more overstable than Glow is. But that doesn't seem to be the case here with this Mana. And that just kind of goes to show the difference of plastics and flights. They are max weight-ish, 178 and 176, essentially max weight. I think they can go up to either 178 or 180. But one thing I did notice about this mana when I picked it up in my unboxing on my second channel, Banana Froth, this feels smaller diameter and a little chunkier, but I have noticed that the Nebula Aura plastic tends to do that. For instance, with this Praxis compared to like a normal bullet or Praxis, it feels a little chunkier. I don't know if it's like a density thing or whatever it is in the plastic, the Nebula Aura feels more condensed and compact than other plastics, and typically that means it's a little more overstable. I have a mana that I had in my bag for a while, which was just the Aura one, just like the Neutron plastic, and it felt a little wider, ever so slightly, and a little thinner. This one feels like it's a little thicker and a little more compact. The Pathfinder feels like a normal Pathfinder, if I'm being honest with you. It doesn't really seem to be incredibly different. So let's throw this whole 375 in Pathfinder, still maintaining the box. Little turnover through the gap. Gonna have to hit it pretty hard, so see how it holds the turn, and then we're gonna have to figure out that flip point with the mana. Oh, maybe I should think about the Pathfinder for my bag end. Holy goodness. I think that's in the circle. That shot held so much like straighter than I expected for an overstable Pathfinder. These might just be more true to numbers in plastics that I would have expected to be more overstable, which is my fault. Can't be that. Come on. Okay, very flippy, a little too much hyzer that time. And it still drifted and turned a slight bit. Good distance for these two though. 375, it is downhill. Mid-ranges help because they're a little glidey. Both of them are about 350, 360 in terms of total distance. Pathfinder's one up. Ooh. Slightly awkward angle to film this one, but you have to be able to see the basket. It's the shortest hole on the course. Ace Run City. We're gonna try to forehand both of these, including the mana. Giving it enough nose up, I think, will work. I think this is pretty forehandable, and even if I had like an interesting woodsy shot that needed to finish left, the feel of this, I would trust to forehand. The flight, we'll see. Pathfinder, perfect round pace. 215, flat and high. Not trying to ace, but that'd be sweet. Felt like it popped out of my hand really easily. That's a pretty easy mid to forehand. To me, with an obscured view, I look like I missed that by 2 feet. To you, it probably looked like I missed by 20. Slower. Go. Oh, that was not bad either. It wasn't as close to an ace run, I don't think, but it might be a closer shot. Oh, that is not one you want to miss when you already missed a birdie and you need to shoot better than 4 down. 2 great days for this hole. 0 birdies. Oh man, this is such like a hole that I want to ace run. But the first 4 holes are the easy holes on the course, and if I don't get my birdies here, it becomes harder and harder. So we're gonna play to try to showcase these 2 discs, parking the shot in different ways. At the tree, skip up. 1 for 1. Wasn't quite as high as I would have wanted, but mana. Uh-oh. I really released it. I'm gonna need to start focusing up a little more with this mana so I at least shoot 4 under par. The putter can save a lot though. Yep. Let's go. And that is why the people argue for CTPs, but putting's a part of disc golf, baby. I really don't know why. I prefer it so much more than doing a CTP battle. But if I'm comparing different discs in like the exact same category, CTPs I think are the way to go. If I'm doing something like this, I'm still gonna score it. My channel, my rules, baby. 325 feet. Tunnel shop, you wanna hit it up this right side gap with something that's flipping up, or throw something flat on a much tighter line because of how far left that first tree goes, or right, and how far left that second tree goes. Pathfinder, 3 through 4, mana, 2 through 4. Back on a good pace. Little tail right to left wind. So it's gonna help push it to the basket, meaning with something like this, which is actually going to finish on a stable edge, I need to throw it flatter than I think, because it's also not gonna flip up with this wind. If I hold the follow through, will it get better? That was a little more hyzer than I wanted. Chance for the mana to get one back. No! Oh, man. Tie hole. What can you do? Pathy got gobbled up a little bit. Looks like I'll have to see how the forehand works out again. Not playing the 2 meter rule, but even if we were, I'm like 6'1", 6'2", so that would have been out of bounds. I'm definitely not 5'6", and that would still have not been 2 meters. Okay. Oh, let's go. Sit. Sit. Oh, I thought I'll hold more. A little too nose up. Oh, that skid is way up the hill. That's a 45-foot look for par. Little patent pen. I do think this is where this disc will shine because it is pretty understable. When you throw it down tempo, it just stays straight. I don't think it's gonna turn too much when I'm throwing it like this, but I think it's gonna hold the line well, throwing it at a lower power. I really like that shot. Kind of understable mid-range for that type of like get out of jail free shot can be really nice instead of a putter because you feel like you don't have to throw it as hard. And like I can, at least for me, it's more comfortable power, the amount that I just put into that disc versus trying to get a putter the same distance. I feel like I have to throw it a little harder. So finding those discs where like you're in the woods, you're in like a jail situation and you need to throw like 150 feet with only your arm, finding the discs that make that most comfortable for you, whether that's putter, mid-range, fairway, driver, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Whatever gets you closest to the basket is the right shot. I thought it was gonna be a runaway with the Pathfinder. Hole 6, 265 feet. What's our wind doing? Seems like mostly tail again, which at 265 I think makes a great forehand with a Pathfinder and a great flat to turn shot with the Mana. It wasn't bad, but I was a little scared, so I aired it on the left side. Pathfinder's a pretty sweet mid to forehand. Wow, that's far. Wow, easy distance. Yep. All right, Pathfinder back on top of the world. And this next one is the most quintessential mid-range hole on the course. Hole 7, 340 feet. We do have a headwind. It's maybe 5 to 7 miles an hour, so enough to affect things, not enough that it's going to drastically change everything about the disc. So we'll get to see how these fly in a headwind. I imagine that means the Mana, a little more hyzer than I have been throwing, but less hyzer than I threw in hole 2. Okay, actually it's a right to left headwind. That makes it even more challenging. But the Pathfinder, I think, straight to slight turn, aiming just right at the basket. I don't think it drifts too much, and I think it stays mostly straight. 340 feet is a rip with these two, but I think it's doable. Well, that's the second time, this hole and hole 5, that I tried to throw a flat shot with that disc and ended up throwing it on hyzer. So I think I'm getting a little too excited about ripping through the shot, and my upper body is leading, and that causes everything to dip down. Good to realize. I am gonna grab that disc, come back and rethrow it, but I'm playing from where it lies. Mana first though. Slight hyzer, don't get too excited to throw. Be patient, hit your shot. Opposite problem. A little less hyzer than needed. Much cleaner shot. Wow, those are so far away. I'm gonna put these putters out there, go grab those discs and come back. I got bad news for the Pathfinder. I hope my camera is wide enough staying all the way back here, but I somehow made my circle 3 putt from the Mana. I shanked my putt from the Pathfinder, but made it the comebacker. So Mana and Pathfinder are both at 3 down. I was definitely not expecting that after those shots. And so right now, since they're both 3 down, this CTP will be the tiebreaker. And actually throw the Pathfinder flat and actually throw the Mana on a decent bit of hyzer. Whew. The bad news though is the wind has picked up since I went and did that. Again, a touch more hyzer than I wanted. The timing felt better though. Okay. Wow, that holds in that wind very well. It's a little right to left pushing it. I thought it'd flip a little more than that, but that stays very straight. I'm very impressed with that Pathfinder. I don't know if it has a chance to make my bag again. I honestly have been really liking the feel of the buzz. My mid-ranges are not secure at all. That being said, mana, gonna be a little more finicky. A little more hyzer than the last shot I threw with it. I threw it low. If it skips, it's good. The mana did slide to edge of circle. The Pathfinder is better distance, a little more height with the mana. Would have parked it, but it does have the CTP tiebreaker. Impressed with how those both held into the headwind. The mana really didn't seem like it was trying to burn, even though I threw it a little more nose down than I want because of how low I threw it. 2 holes to play. Both only need 1 birdie to be safe from score elimination, but competition elimination is a different ballgame. Hole 8, 283, head right to left again. There is OB right, and that does scare me. So I'm thinking I'm gonna throw the mana the left, let it drift, but keep it underneath the height of all these shrubs so it doesn't go out of bounds. Oh, it does have the box though. And the Pathfinder, I think I'm gonna keep on hyzer. Not simple shots, but just don't bogey and we're golden. Turn it. That was interesting. Pretty solid shot. It was maybe a little more nose up than I meant, and so the wind just kept lifting it. Pathfinder has a chance to get a little closer, but mana is still well within birdie range. Go in. Stay up, stay up, stay up. Oh, better shot than I thought with this mana. It had quite the ride, but honestly, in terms of fun factor, I think this disc is way more fun. It doesn't seem ridiculously flippy, but flippy enough that it's like, oh wow, you're really still turning, which is always fun to me. That just seems like business. Fun business. We're playing disc golf. It's disc golf business. But that's a business disc and it's a fun disc. Oh, Pathfinder's short. What the heck? Woohoo! 4 down a piece. Last hole, actually, in thinking about it more, is the quintessential mid-range hole. Is a tunnel shot, under 300 feet, but on the high end of the 200s. Both of these have a great chance. You can throw hyzer flip, you can throw flat to flex. I don't think I have birdied it though in the last month or 2 in videos on this channel for reviews. So it's about time. Hole 9, 288. Mana maintains the box. Still have a headwind. Still have that birdie energy. Oh yeah. Perfect distance. That's what you want that disc for. Flip up, get a little turn right down the gap. Pathfinder, similar, but actually throw it flat to flex. Don't throw a hyzer. So I'm gonna think about a little anhyzer since my flat shots have been coming out on a little hyzer. If I think about this much anhyzer, it's probably gonna come out there. I think those 2 shots will do to close out the video. A couple of 5 packs to finish the video, meaning they tie, and the mana has the tiebreaker, so the mana is the winner. Shout out Eric Oakley for the Pathfinder in the final signature series. A great asset to disc golf and the positivity in the community. I hope whatever comes next, whether that's coming back into disc golf at some point or having this be the end of your disc golf career, I'm not quite sure, but I hope it goes well for you. A great, fun guy and a great representative of the sport. Shout out Zoe Andyke as well, continuing to press on and helping the youth grow disc golf with UPlay, the Tour Down Under, and also just being an incredibly positive person with some great instructional content. Both of them have great instructional content, so definitely check that out if you'd like. The Pathfinder will be one of the options in the Bedance's bounty bin for the Course Quest series. You can watch yesterday's video right here to see what that's all about. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe, and I'll see you soon.